going on, everyone? It's Alex Goddard back again with a brand new Doctor Who video. Now 13 years ago on this exact day was the beginning of a new era. On the 26th of March 2005 was the date where episode 1 of series 1 of Doctor Who aired for the first time in over 9 years since the Doctor Who movie in 1996. Now I have decided to do a throwback series of reviews where I'll be reviewing every episode of series 1 of Doctor Who. Every review of each episode will be uploaded on the date where this episode aired for the first time. I've decided to do this series because it's a fantastic idea to tribute 13 years since series 1 began back in 2005. I'm really excited for this, so please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe so you don't miss out for what you're in store for. And so, without further ado, let's get started at the very beginning of series 1 with Rose. Now for me, Rose as an episode is pretty much the perfect episode for anybody to get back into Doctor Who. Like I said, I've been suffering from Doctor Who drought for the past month, and this was the perfect episode to refresh my mind, and I feel like that I'm back loving Doctor Who once again. The first episode of any series is always so entertaining, and I found myself captivated by the title sequence, the plotline, the characters, and the whole feeling of what this episode means. Credit to Russell T Davies, who is by far the most consistent writer and showrunner in the modern series. His writing is just perfection. Russell T Davies is such an awe-inspiring writer, and it was like that he made Doctor Who as fresh as it can be to attract and captivate the audience. One of the reasons why I love his writing is because of the recurring themes throughout every episode. It's such a subtle twist to add into any episode. It makes you think in your subconscious that there's a key factor to learn in any episode. For instance, in this episode, the key theme is, who is the Doctor? And how he came to be as a stranger looking for danger. One of my favourite scenes in this episode is where Rose and Clive are discussing about the past rumours and myths about the Doctor. This scene definitely gives you an insight on who is this Doctor and how he keeps popping up all over the place, even throughout different time zones, and he still looks the same man. The Doctor is a legend woven throughout history. When disaster comes, he's there. It means that there's storms awake and he only has one constant companion. Who's that? Death. It's one of my favourite quotes that describes the Doctor in an explicit but effective way. The title sequence and the theme tune is so iconic. It's such a unique sequence, and I personally think it's one of the best title sequences ever. I love the colours, the red, the blue, and the whole vortex is so psychedelic, but in a good way though. The flow of this episode is just perfect. The episode starts with a short montage of Rose's life, which fills you in on all of the details of her lifestyle. It's really good editing by the crew, and I'm glad that this episode was only 45 minutes long, because most beginning episodes of every series tend to be quite longer. However, the pace of this episode is quite steady, where the episode allows you to process everything of what's already happened. For me, I really like that. Also, credit to the music soundtracks in this episode. The music was very, very good. Personally, I'm a big fan of music in Doctor Who because it enhances the scene and it makes it more considerate towards the viewers. The plotline is quite straightforward. Most beginning episodes, they like to start things simple, and since this was the first Doctor Who episode for the modern series, I can't really argue that the plotline was too simple. However, I love the whole mystery feeling in this episode about the identity of the Doctor and why is he here. For me, I really appreciated what Russell T Davies did to bring back the excitement and the fear factor of Doctor Who. This was everyone's first Doctor Who episode, unless you saw the classic series first, but when you ask the question of what was your first Doctor Who story or episode you watched to any Whovian, most of the responses will be Rose, and it's such an iconic episode as everyone remembers this episode as their childhood. I love the Autons in this. The Autons were so frightening. When I first watched this as a young child, boy, I was shaking behind the sofa, scared out of my wits. I even felt scared even going into the shopping centre, looking at shop window dummies, thinking that they could come alive and kill me. The Autons were absolutely brilliant. They're creepy, they're sinister, and they're honestly one of the best villains in Doctor Who. This is the reason why they need to return so badly, because they don't get the appreciation that they truly deserve nowadays. Now, Most of the characters in this episode are pretty good throughout. Jack is alright. The only thing that she's bothered about in this episode is just compensation. She's not really that annoying, but it comes to a point where she can become a bit deluded and she can go off on a rant. That's when I can't stand her. Mickey's alright too, as for everyone likes to call him Mickey Mouse. From the start of the series, he's pretty normal and he's just bland like every other character. It's only when he appears frequently that's when he becomes a better character. Now Clive, I thought he was very interesting to begin with, and he sort of seems like that one person who's crazed with myths and legends and other rumours. I think he's pretty good in this episode. It's been unfortunate that he gets shot by an Orson in the final third of this episode. Now let's talk about Rose, who I personally think that as an overall companion, I really like her. I wasn't a big fan of her at the time, but after watching this episode, I realised that Rose is such a relatable character in Series 1. However, in Series 2, her character slightly goes downhill. For me, she's brilliant in this episode. Obviously, as the episode is named after herself, but also it tells you about the interesting journey that she goes on from having a normal lifestyle to meeting up with the Doctor and being introduced to the unknown fears of the universe. She's a simple character, but all of a sudden she becomes a big part of the Doctor's life. Travelling through time and space is possibly the best thing to happen for her, and I thought she was really good. Also, can I point out something really weird? I mean, when Rose was searching for the Doctor on the internet, she didn't use Google. She used Search Wise. Really? I thought Google would have been out by 2005, but I could be wrong though. She may feel like a normal and bland character, but she delivers on what she's good at, not what she's supposed to be good at. Swinging over lava, trying to save the Doctor, now that takes some guts in my opinion. I have many favourite moments in this episode, especially the first scene with the Doctor when he says, "Run." That's iconic. Just that one word can change your situation of life and death within a matter of seconds. And another moment that I absolutely adore to bits is where the Doctor tries to find the transmitter and he turns round a few times realising he's found it, which was clearly right in front of him, and he says that famous catchphrase of all time. Fantastic. It's sensational acting from Christopher Eccleston. Christopher Eccleston is a true legend. I would honestly love to meet him. I'm telling you that without Christopher Eccleston, Doctor Who wouldn't be as popular as it is today. His role as the Doctor captivated the viewers at home, and they fell in love with Doctor Who because Christopher Eccleston was that good. He became the whole show. The entire show was about him, and people really loved his performance as the Doctor. It's a bit sad they didn't like working with the BBC at the time, and that was the reason why he only stayed for one series. If I was to ask this question right here, right now, would you think that Christopher Eccleston's Doctor is by far one of the best Doctors throughout the history of Doctor Who? In my opinion, I would say yes, because without him, in Series 1, I don't think my love of Doctor Who would have continued the way it has been for the last 13 years. His era was very short, however, he's such a relatable character. He's funny, he's thoughtful, he's sarcastic, and he's quite dark in some situations where you least expect it, and he brings the seriousness when he needs to make a valuable point. He's an all-rounder of personalities, and his performance in this episode was a joy to watch. I'm really looking forward to many more reviews of Series 1, so please smash the subscribe button for more. Finally, as a quick summary, Rose is such a fantastic but quite important episode, because this was the first episode to hit our screens in 2005, and if this episode wasn't good enough, then I wouldn't know where Doctor Who would be right now. Also, this was my first ever Doctor Who's episode I ever watched, and I still adore it today. It's absolutely fantastic, and my overall rating for this episode is a 10 out of 10. Please let me know your opinions and your ratings in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like this review, and remember to please subscribe to this channel for more amazing content. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all next time for another Doctor Who video. Until then, guys, take care of yourselves. Goodbye.